Team Riggs and I out here in the woods, and today we are going to be testing the cheapest, most popular, highly rated compass on Amazon. This is the Turn-On Sport base plate orienteering compass, and we're going to break this down into a few different segments. He is going nuts. So step one, we're going to unpackage this thing. Single layer acrylic. Riggs is double layer stoked. Gives a quick initial overview of what Stoker thinks about this thing. Step two, we're going to work out and do a field test. So that was 70, the cheapest base plate compass, and see just how good this thing is, if it's something that could be added into your kit bag. And along the way, we're going to look at compass error. So now I need to convert my magnetic, and at the end we'll stop and make some coffee back here, and we're gonna add a dash of my kind of creamer. The pack that drinks together stays together. At our start point, talk about some afterthoughts. So let's get this thing going. Again, I think this thing runs $10 on Amazon, so it is super inexpensive, and it has like 5,000 5-star reviews or something, so it's pretty crazy. Front of it there, you got a little orange compass, which is nice because if you drop it, you can find it. It says it's made out of acrylic, rotating bezel ring, got a couple scales on it. Doesn't appear to have a roamer. Roamer is what you would use to plot a point, but it does have some scales and has a handy dandy neck lanyard. Good to keep it on your person. Get this set up. It's a little chilly today. I know, bub. All right, so here we go. That is nice and bright orange. Bezel ring turns, doesn't click. Good size though. I mean, you can read some good things there. Easy enough to read everything on it. So, single layer acrylic base plate filled. I'm not sure what it's filled with. Single layer acrylic. Riggs is double layer stoked. Got a little magnifier on it. Bezel ring turns. So, initial thoughts, like, really this is a large button compass, right? Because you can't adjust the declination. And although you get some rulers on it, it doesn't have a roamer so that you can't plot points. So first initial thought is, man, this is what it is. This is probably a good entry-level compass for maybe a scouting program, something along these lines. But the biggest thing is we're going to need to see is how accurate is it, and can it be trusted? Can it be used with accuracy and precision? So that's why we're going to take this thing out. And so we're actually out on the land navigation course that I made, and so we're going to put this thing to the test and see how accurate it is along the way. I'm going to show you a couple tips, a couple tricks, not only when it comes to doing dead reckoning and some terrain association, but also on how to determine the compass error on your compasses. So we know that we came in, turned south, came down this road here, and then took a right or turned west. And right past this junction is right in where we're at, right in there. But what we're gonna do is use my free app you've seen me use time and time again. It's the USNG app. Accuracy is down to 4 meters. And write this stuff down. The starting point is at 387980764 9er. Right, and because we don't have a roamer on the compass, we're going to use a protractor to plot exactly where we're at. And so we're going to read to the right to 38, up to 07, place protractor down, making sure that 0's at the top, 90's at the right, slide over to 798, and then read up to 07649er. So right at that hash mark right there, which is exactly about where I said we were at. So I'm gonna make a little mark there and double check. Now what I like to do is just make a circle there. That way it's a little bit easier to read. And we're gonna move to 387280664 So now we need to get that plotted. All right, so here we are. It's almost due south, right? So we could drop a bearing and try to go straight through, but we're gonna work this a little bit smarter. We're gonna use some terrain association along with some dead reckoning. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop on this trail and come down until we get to this intersection, and then once we get there, we'll take a quick pause and go at it. All right, so we have our point plotted for where we are. We have our point plotted for where we're going to go, and from here, I guess we'll pick it up and get to stepping. $56-57 degrees right now. All right, so we've made it to our intersection, but as you can see, right, so we got coming down this way what I thought was going to be on the map, which was a unimproved trail, has since been removed with the logging, but that's okay. Ended up taking the gravel road, but I know exactly where I'm at. This is called an attack point. An attack point is a known feature that we know that we're gonna be able to find once we get boots on the ground. And this is a great spot because from here, what I'm doing is I'm reducing the length of time that I need to travel from this attack point to the point, which is gonna be off in this direction, up in those trees up there. This is also a good place to stop to review compass error. And he is all up in our business. I'm gonna orient myself to the terrain around me. Might just spin it around. So as you can see, we're at this intersection right here, and this road, which is sitting right behind us, is moving north and south. Of course, that's grid north and south. So what we're going to do is shoot an azimuth down the course of this, and down the long axis of this road. So we got Red in the shed, and we're just reading up on our bearing. Riggs he's full of it today. He didn't want none of this. So what the next step we need to do is come back over to the map. You're such a goober. So we said down this long axis, 162. Just call this compass error check. So now I need to convert my magnetic azimuth to a grid azimuth, which says that we need to add the GM angle. The GM angle here is 17.5, and I'm not worried about the half. So that's 9, 6, 7, 179 degrees, right? So compass error of 1 degree. That's not too bad. That's worthy enough to trust. So we're going to put this to the test. We're going to put this thing to the test. We'll pull our azimuth from here to our point and go at it from there. It's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So from where we're at to this point is 121, 22, 123. Grid. So now we need to subtract 17 degrees to get our magnetic. 106 magnetic, and the distance that we're going to travel 300, and we're going to call this 50 meters. And let's see if I can show you what we were doing here. He just wants to help, guys. That's all. He just wants to help. So we know we're at this intersection. We know this is where we're gonna go. So what I did was use my protractor and line that up and drew a straight line here off to the side. Put the protractor back on, 0 at the top. Again, 90 at the right. I read back over to get my 123. Subtract that declination back in. And then I use the roamer on the protractor, starting from where we're at to where we're going to get my distance. 350 meters, that's gonna be 3.5 times my pace count, which on flat ground for me is 65 paces. We're gonna go with 70 through this stuff here. So I hope that makes sense. We'll get suited up and start heading off. But he wants to take his stick. So I got 160 degrees on underneath my direction of travel arrow. And then I just want to keep red in the shed. And we're looking straight in front of us here now. Again, it's straight up that way. All right, so that's 100 meters traveled. Make a little tick mark in the notebook. All right, so that's 200 meters. So that was 70, but because of the terrain, I'm gonna push up about another 5, 10. We'll call that close. 300. All right, so that's our 350. Let me put a little half, 3.5. Come out, and as many times as the case, you don't see your marker, right? It's not exactly where you stopped. I don't care how good you are, you're not going to be able to work through terrain and stop exactly at that 10-digit grid coordinate. So what you need to do is look around. Right, we start doing some 5 and 25s, right? And if at first we don't see anything, now we can step out and start working around. Step out and start working around. Again, conducting 5, 25s. It all comes down to probability of detection. From here, I can see where the point was, and it's right here. I can still see the stake. So we're gonna walk to it and count the difference between here and there. So it's 1, 2, 15, 16, 17 paces. So this is right where it belongs, right? We are at point call. And then it tells us where to move to. So I'm gonna have to come back out and fix this before I run anybody else on it. But that's what my point looks like. So Corporal Call's tank was hit by a direct artillery. Choked by gas, he left the tank and began to return fire. Exposing himself to heavy machine gun and sniper fire, he returned to the tank to rescue the officer still within. Pretty badass, and of course he was awarded the Medal of Honor. Right, and so here it tells us where to go. We went out to one point as a quick test of the cheapest base plate compass on the market. Let's go back, we'll brew up some coffee. How does that sound? And then we'll go over a couple other points of consideration about the compass itself, and what we think of this bad boy. All right, pull up a squat up here. We'll get a fire going, get some coffee on. I think that's warm enough. Instant coffee today. Griggs wants some too, I think. And we're gonna add a dash of my kind of creamer. A couple more tears. And as you know, man, this thing is filled with the tears of a commie. It's the best kind of creamer that's out there. Consume them. Make them cry even more. And the way to fill this thing up is by liking, subscribing, and sharing, and leaving some dadgum comments. Oh, that's just dadgum good, fellas. So, but when it comes to what I feel about this compass, as you know, man, I am a Commie USGI all the way lens addict compass kind of fella. That being said, that's not in everybody's budget, right? And that's exactly what this is, man. It's a budget compass for entry-level dudes, you know, especially for kids or for folks who are just trying to get the feel of it. This is a fine step into it. You know, it's $10. If you lose it, big deal. If it breaks, big deal, right? It's nice that the bezel ring is fairly stiff, right? It doesn't just freewheel all the way around, so you know that once you set it, it's gonna stick. And I also don't like that you can't account for declination on this thing. That's really what sets base plate compasses apart. But that's okay as long as you know what you're getting on the front end. I guess, you know, if I was out looking for my first compass, this may be something that I would look for. But all in all, I mean, this is not something that, I mean, I guess it is what it is at the end of the day. The accuracy on this thing being, you know, 1 degree off for a compass error is pretty amazing. And, you know, maybe I had, even if I had some error as I was setting my azimuth, even if the declination here is different than 17 degrees, if it was a couple degrees off, I think it's fair to say that it's certainly no more than 3 degrees off, which is pretty good. Now, again, I don't know what this compass is filled with. Well, Tim, I think that's about all she wrote for today, at least for this. Riggs and I are gonna spend probably a couple more hours out here messing around. If I could leave you with anything, it's just that, man. Get out into the field so that you can master your craft. Leave some comments down below, man. Let me know what you think about the cheapest, most highly rated base plate compass on Amazon. That way we can keep this conversation rolling. Man, I appreciate all you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked. You want a drink? You want a drink? Sit. Break. The pack that drinks together stays together. Oh yeah.